Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, or whatever the case may be. My name is Marcus, and I am the host of the Black Brazil Today YouTube channel, as well as the blackbraziltoday.com blog, where I analyze Brazil from the perspective of race. So tonight, I want to focus and react to a video I recently saw by a very well-known Afro-Brazilian entrepreneur, social influencer, designer. Woman wears a lot of hats. I remember I met her, and there's a yearly event that goes down in Sao Paulo called Feira Preta. It's like a Black Expo. It's been going on for like 2 decades now. Black entrepreneurs selling their products. There's music, there's food, there's dance, books, everything that's related to, cultura negra or Black culture. It's like sometimes it's a 3 day event. Sometimes it's gone a week. I've seen events held at Feira Preta like for a whole month. But um, Ana Paula Xongani, just very important woman in terms of be having a presence online and just being an entrepreneur. You could almost consider her to be a leader in the Afro-Brazilian community. So today I'm talking about a video. I don't know when it was released, but I just recently saw it and I says I definitely have to talk about this. In the video, she's basically saying, I chose to have a dark-skinned daughter. This is what entrepreneur and social influencer Ana Paula Xongani said. And I have to talk about this because it speaks so much uh, in terms of the topics that I discuss on this channel. It speaks so much about the narrative. It goes against the grain about what Brazil is mostly all about, and that is whitening its population. As I go on, I'm going to discuss, I want to talk about why it's such a big deal that she says something like this. So let's get directly into the video for the day. So this is Ana Paula Xongani. And again, she said in an interview, she says, I chose to have a filha preta, a Black girl, a Black daughter, specifically a dark-skinned Black daughter. If you follow this channel long enough, you know why this is a big deal. But let me just get into the crux of the video. Ana Paula Xongani is a popular fashion entrepreneur and digital influencer who has hundreds of thousands of followers and subscribers on her social network platforms and is a well-known personality in Afro-Brazilian circles. She is also the co-founder of the clothing brand Atelier Xongani. I've had my eyes on Ana Paula for a number of years because I love the way she expresses herself on topics dealing with race and color. Okay, just a couple more photos of Ana Paula. I wanted to highlight her video today. I wanted to highlight in her video, uh, Ana Paula has been outspoken and uncompromising when it comes to these issues. My 2017 article featured Ana Paula, who made it clear that she wanted Black women to feel beautiful just the way they are. In 2021, she was featured in a post entitled O Amor Preto Cura, Does Black Love Heal? Black couples discuss the question and what it means in an anti-Black society. It's just saying there's been a movement in Afro-Brazilian circles for a number of years that says we need to start promoting amor preta, amor preto, meaning Black love, saying with all of the damage we've had to our mentality and our conscious, is it possible that Black love can help cure the community? Because this has been a love that's been denied to the Black community in Brazil arguably for centuries. Okay. This is just a still featuring some of the products that Ana Paula's company puts out. There are a number of other posts that feature Ana Paula, but another that I want to discuss today came from the 2018 article entitled Being the Mother of a Black Girl has brought me many challenges. In video, entrepreneur laments hearing from daughter how children avoid playing with her. Okay. I want to revisit that story. I'm not going to read the whole article, but this is I'm actually taking an excerpt from a video that I did in 2018, where it was on a post on Facebook. Ana Paula detailed the difficulties her daughter was having at school. The post went like this. This is Ana Paula and her daughter. She wrote, "In tears, I write. There are a lot of beautiful things in maternity, but there are a lot of pains also. Being the mother of a Black girl has brought me many fears, many challenges, and a lot of strength. It is very sad to see your daughter being rejected. Even before saying hello, she comes close and they all run. She approaches and all the others group together. She calls, no one answers. They isolate her, exclude her, hurt her. She doesn't understand, but she feels it. She doesn't complain, but she gets mad. My heart breaks. The post went on. And for those of you who believe it to be a coisa de criança, a children's thing, you're certainly not a Black woman. We Black women experience these same traumas in childhood. It was bad, but over time we forgot, surpassed, or neglect or reflected in other moments of life. But being a mother makes you relive some of them, and this time more intensely and much more painful. I'm highlighting this post from a few years ago because there is simply no way to dismiss the role of skin color in Brazilian society. That's, it's one of the topics that I often talk about. As the whole society has been engineered to prefer the European aesthetic, it goes without saying that the closer one is to the European phenotype, the better that person is treated. I won't say that your life will automatically be better, as there are poor whites in Brazil, but I will say that your chances of being treated well are much better than those who are considered Black or brown. There's been numerous stories, some of which I've covered on the blog, that talked about even being poor, how there are certain benefits that white people in the poor community still have over people with black and brown skin. Today, I want to discuss a video in which Ana Paula speaks on how she chose to have a Black daughter. She stated her desire for a Black child, married a dark-skinned Black man, and had a clearly Black daughter. Ana completely rejected the goal of 19th and 20th century elites who dreamed of a Brazil that would eventually become white through generations of racial mixture that would eventually rid the country of its Black and brown citizens. I've talked about what's called the theory of embranquecimento, the whitening theory, where late 19th century and early 20th century Brazilian elites, they dreamed of Brazil becoming white by successive generations of Black and brown Brazilians having relations with whiter skinned people, to the point where after 2 to 3, 4, 5, however many generations it took, they would actually produce offspring who are either white or something close to white. I talked about that in a 2-part video. What was it? Brazil's racist white elite, with their dream of for the future was a white Brazil. Okay. So why this is important is that Paula is one thing that people just produce Black children, or even if they're they're not extremely dark skinned, even if they're on the brown skin side, if they're the caramel skin side, or even a light skin side. Ana Paula made it very clear that she wanted to have a daughter or a son who carried her same complexion, because Ana Paula is a dark skinned Black woman. Why I want to point this out is that you just don't meet many Brazilians who say that openly. Most Black Brazilians, and all the time in the over 2 decades I've studied this, I rarely run into Black Brazilians who openly say, I want to have Black children, or I want to have a child that's darker than me. One thing that I noticed, it's really intriguing to me. I've known a number of what I consider to be Black Brazilian women. They just tend to be on the lighter skin side. And these lighter skinned women, I noticed, I knew at least 6 cases. While I was visiting Sao Paulo and living in Sao Paulo, these lighter skinned women seem like they went out of their way to choose dark skinned Black men in order to have children. I remember either I read it in the Malcolm X autobiography, or it was actually put in the film from 1992, where it said that Malcolm X's mother, who was fair skinned, wanted to have children with a dark skinned man because she wanted her children to come out with some color. That's the same vibe. These women never said that to me, but that's the vibe that I got from them. In some cases, and often probably the majority of those cases, the mother or the father or both looked at those children like, what are you doing? It's this thing of, I got you to light skin status. You have to go and marry white so you can finally get that white child. And over the course of this development of Black identity, these women flip the script like, no, I'm happy to be Black. I want my children to come out darker than me. So this is something that you see, like I said, it's kind of like an unwritten thing. I haven't heard anybody verbally say, yeah, I specifically wanted to have children with a darker skinned man. so I could have darker skinned children. But I just picked up on that vibe, right? Let me discuss a couple of the articles that I linked to this that I'm talking about today, because this is something that if you're not from Brazil, you're not going to understand what this is all about. So this video is the video that I'm using an excerpt from that talks about how her black daughter felt like she was being shunned by the kids at her school, and probably because she was black, and probably because of her hair texture. You know, there's no way to deny that this type of thing happens in Brazil all the time. These are some other stories that actually feature Ana Paula Xongani. This is the article that I did in 2021. Does Black Love Heal? You go a little further down. She was involved in this makeup campaign for black skin tones. She was involved in this hair product for black women. I have to do a story on that one day because it was an amazing piece. Just the promotion of black hair products in this particular commercial. There was another one here. This article is not about Ana Paula Xongani, but it speaks to what her daughter probably felt. In this article from 2018, this is an actor. It says, somebody said to his daughter that I only play with white people. Actor perplexed after 4-year-old refuses to play with his daughter because of her skin color and hair texture. So when we look at Ana Paula's what she said in, you know, speaking about her daughter's experience with the same thing, these two articles kind of go together, because this is something that you hear come out of the schools all the time, where black children are so ridiculed, they're excluded from games, they're left all alone, or, you know, people insult them with racially insensitive insults. So it's like there's no way that you can really deny what's going on with Ana Paula's daughter. I mean, it's too much documentation that we have of the experiences of black children in the school system in Brazil. Now, while I'm talking about this, these are a couple of the we can say academic articles that I borrowed from to speak about this issue that I'm going to get to. This is called Psychoanalytical Contributions of Brazilian Racism, a History Made by Black Women. Here you have the social interactions and formation of the identity of the Black child. Here's another one, Racism and Health, Perspectives of Black Women Who Live in the Favela Slums, right? All of these articles I took a little bit something from, because they all speak to the issue of what I'm talking about with why Ana Paula, what she said in her choice of having a dark-skinned black daughter, why this is so big. And I'm going to get into that right here. Let me see. Okay, Brazilians are familiar with this idea of mixing into your children, your offspring, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren become white. Brazilians are familiar with this. Even if most don't know there was a declared goal of whitening the population, most learn from their families that it was considered desirable to produce whiter looking children. There are countless studies and dissertations that provide the evidence of this. If you talk to or you know enough Black Brazilians, you're sure to meet people who are familiar with the use of expressions that are very common within the Black population, which explicitly refer to the idea of whitening, such as improving the race, lightening the family, cleaning up the race, not going back to Africa. All of this is from one of the those academic studies that I just showed. This was by Vera Lucia Neri Silva from 2004. In a 2020 study, Dalitha Dimenjor Silva and Beatriz Zocal da Silva also noted this aspect related to the issue of race, color, ethnicity, which was very present in their interviewees' statement in their dissertation or report. Related to the issue of whitening one's offspring and the encouragement of them being able to whiten their family. Don't get with the black girl, no. You have to get with someone white to lighten the family, are examples of statements that affirm the ideal of whitening subtly infused into the Black population. In 2020, in a 2021 Facebook post, Professor Vera Lucia Rodrigues dos Santos also recognized this social engineering designed to destroy the Black population. She wrote, this is what I'm sure a lot of you remember. This was going around social networks for a minute, where you saw on the left side how this Black couple's offspring marrying white, then the mixed girl marrying white, then that person marrying white. eventually gets to the white girl, whereas on the other side, they kept it black throughout the family. This is something I'm sure. So they were obviously commenting on this in a Brazilian social network on Facebook because Brazilians can understand this exactly. It's something that many Black Brazilian families have experienced. So very much representative of what I'm talking about today. So Professor Vida Lucia Rodrigues dos Santos, she wrote this in 2021. She says, "When I was little, I heard this phrase a lot. You have to lighten up the family. I always thought that this thought was a reflection of all the suffering that my people have gone through for many centuries. But when you start to read, study, and understand that this was a well-armed plan by the system of whitening, it was designed to extinguish us. Recently, I heard this phrase from a young woman, and it saddened me a lot because it's very difficult to fight against a system which has tried in every way to destroy us." Powerful in that short paragraph that she wrote. This is the professor who wrote that. She gets it. A lot of Black Brazilians, you had a conversation. I'll say that more people are becoming aware of this history that said Black people need to disappear from Brazil, but a lot of people still don't see it. They don't see anything wrong. Hey, love has no color. I'm going to mix. I'm going to choose whoever I want. And I'm not saying there's a problem with people choosing who they want to marry, but I can't speak on why people make their choices. Only those people can look at the interior of their psyche and say, am I marrying this white person because I genuinely love this person, or because deep down I want to whiten my family as well? I can't speak on that. That's for people to come to that conclusion personally, right? But the struggle continues. This is her continuing. This is more from her piece, her post. The struggle continues, and I am Vera Lucia Rodrigues dos Santos, a Black woman, a quilombola, meaning a Maroon Society inhabitant, an academic at the Federal University of Mato Grosso, a warrior strong and aware. I dream of one day seeing my community freed from all the cursed legacies of slavery. So she recognizes what Black Brazilians have gone through physically, emotionally, and psychologically. Dos Santos clearly understands Brazil's desire to get rid of its Black and brown population, although today more and more Black and brown Brazilians are aware of this dark history in Brazil. Very rarely do you hear someone say they ain't down with the program. Now, what am I saying here? A lot of Black Brazilians have this discourse when the topic is interracial relationships, and they'll automatically say amor no tem cor, meaning love has no color. To me, it's kind of like a self-defense mechanism. Okay. Whether it's true or not, people will react that way, and just to deflect criticism of why so many people choose to marry and procreate across the race line. Two, again, the discussion of palmitagem, this idea that Black Brazilians have a predilection to choose whiter partners, white or close to white partners, to marry and have families and hopefully have lighter skinned kids, right? Three, numerous famous Afro-Brazilians engaged in a racial question that have white partners. It's something that I talked about. I asked a question. It's one thing that you're just a Black person and you don't really have a sense of racial identity or racial consciousness, or just how race plays a factor in Brazil. But people who actively have a sense of consciousness, they still partner with white partners. And, I have to ask, how do you guys feel about that? Is that problematic? Four, I highlight this guy right here. His name is Yuri Marçal. He is one of the top Black stand-up comedians in the country. Yuri, he's one of the few people, just like what Ana Paula said, she made the choice to have a dark-skinned Black daughter. Yuri Marçal is one of the few Black Brazilian men I've ever seen who publicly say, look, I only get with Black women. It's just rare. You don't find that very much in Brazil. I'm saying among the famous people, the richer people, people generally, love has no color. And to me, it's kind of like a way to mask the idea that they do plan to marry white, but they shield themselves from criticism by saying, look, love has no color. I can't help who I fell in love with. Yuri Marçal says, no, I only deal with Black women, right? So I'm getting into the piece by Ana Paula Xongani. This is what she said in this video, and I quote, I chose to have a Black daughter. We choose how, on some level, we minimally choose how to have our children in the same way that we choose that our children be lighter skinned, right? I wanted to have a dark daughter. I wanted to have a Black daughter. I wanted to have a daughter with kinky hair. These were conscious choices about how my daughter would be. My daughter took a long time to
de como
get
seria
dark.
minha filha
Today she's
e
very black
demorou a
with very
escurecer.
kinky hair,
Hoje ela é muito
but she took a
pretinha,
long
cabelo
time to
bem
get dark.
crespinho.
It took a
Mas ela
long time
demorou
for her
muito
hair to
para
get
escurecer, ela
kinky.
demorou muito para o
In the
cabelo dela
natural
ser
process,
crespo,
I
processo
was
natural, também
also
nasci
born
clara.
light.
E eu torcia
And I
para
hope that the
que
time would come
chegasse logo o
soon
momento onde
when
ela
she would
fosse
be dark so
escura
that
para
she
ela
wouldn't
não
be
ser
mistaken for not being my
confundida como
daughter.
não minha filha.
Powerful what Ana Paula Xongani said in this post, in this video. I've seen cases in Brazil where black people who have light skin, white or almost white children, and people will call the police thinking, oh, well, not only is it possible that they would call the police because they feel like this black person kidnapped this white child, but also the black person, particularly a woman, being seen with a lighter skinned child or a white looking child, almost white, people will mistake the black mother for the maid. So I hear what she's saying. She being dark skinned, she doesn't want to be seen with a light skinned child and have people mistake her for not being her mother. But again, just powerful what Ana Paula Xongani said, because you just don't hear. In my experience in Brazil, I didn't hear a whole lot of black people ever say that. It was almost in the mind, it says we all are here to mix the black out of our family. It's just nobody says it openly, but I saw case after case of this situation with different black families. So anyway, I wanted to know what you all thought about this particular video. Drop a comment in the comment section. Like this video, share this video, consider subscribing to the channel. Click on the notification bell so that you'll be notified when I put up a new video. Consider, dropping a couple of dollars in my Cash App, as you see there. If you like this video, consider dropping a super thanks. Every dollar is always appreciated. And with that said, I'm going to end this video here and request that you all come back and check out the next video that I post.